Hi and welcome back to Alert Gadget. This video is called Partnering with Google, which actually deals with the submission of your gadgets to Google Desktop. We do have obviously the ability to submit gadgets to other areas and other platforms, but this video deals specifically with submissions to Google Desktop. So I've made a start. I'm already logged into one of our Alert Gadget publisher accounts, and towards the bottom of the navigation panel on the left, I'm just underlining it now, you will see that it says Google Desktop Submission. So this is where we submit gadgets for submission or ongoing submission to Google Desktop. So I'm going to make a start by clicking on that particular link. Now in front of us we'll have a list of all the current gadgets that we have within the specific publisher account. You've got your gadget name, you've got the status, and then on the very right you've got a column called Submit to Google. This will have two different options under there. It'll either say Submit, as you see there, or it'll say View Status. If it says Submit, this just means that it hasn't yet been submitted, or that you haven't yet submitted, and under View Status this means it has been submitted, and you use that link to then view the status of its submission. Now I'm going to make a start by submitting one of these gadgets, and I've already sort of pre-chosen one that's called Google Hot Trends, okay, because it hasn't yet been submitted. So I'm going to make a start and I'm going to click on Submit. Okay, this takes us to another screen which then has different options to complete. Now obviously at the top you've got your gadget name. This is carried through from when you created the gadget. If you feel that for any particular reason that name doesn't portray the proper feeling or description of your gadget, then you may want to change that, and you can do that by going back into Gadget Management and editing your gadget, and anything that is edited there will be carried through to here. That's as far as the gadget name is concerned. But if you want to change the descriptions, which I'm just underlining here, you can change the descriptions here and they won't be affected in the main gadget area. So whatever description you've used to create your gadget won't be affected. So if you wanted to give it more or description, a slightly longer description, which you're allowed to here, you can do that safely without affecting anything within the main makeup of your gadget. Okay, so I'm going to make a start on actually preparing this one. This one actually hasn't got much of a description, albeit it does describe what it does, which is discover the hot trends being created at Google. So I'm just going to flick over to Hot Trends at Google itself, and I'm going to, at the bottom here, I'm going to click on About Google Hot Trends. I'm just doing this for ease and quickness, just to show you what needs to go in there. Obviously this is a description of what Google Hot Trends is about, so I can quite safely just copy that, take it back to my gadget, paste it into this first description area. It's a brief description and you've got a maximum of 255 characters. What I can then do is I can go back to Google Hot Trends and copy some more text. Obviously if it's your own gadget and you're the creator of that, you'll already know, and you'll actually want to type in your own description rather than go and copy and paste something from somebody else's website. If it is based on somebody else's website and you've got their permission, by all means use what they've already got on that website, as I am doing here. Okay, so I've now completed my brief description, my detailed description. In the email field, as I'm showing you here, it will actually carry through the email that you used when you created your Alert Gadget account. If you want to put a different email in here, you can do. This email will then be used by our admin to contact you and advise you of the stages that it will go through, which I'll tell you more about in a moment. Now below this you've got author website URL. This will be a URL which, once it's in the Google Desktop library, it will have a link back to that URL to make it more descriptive about the gadget that the end user will download. So if you do have a web page that describes your gadget, if you have a web page that describes any sort of service that you're pushing through Alert Gadget, then you can put that in there, and that will actually appear on Google Desktop, or in the library I should say. Next, below this, Google require that we submit the gadget for you along with an 80 by 60 GIF image. It must be a GIF, and it must be that height. You can create these by taking a small screenshot of a particular area of your website. That's if you don't already have an image or icon. If you have got any particular problems creating this or getting started with this, by all means please contact our support desk, and we will do everything we can to create one for you. And just show that you know you've got a support link there up on the left, so you can contact us there and say you want to create or would like us to create an image for you for Google Desktop submission, and give us something to go on, give us a website or something to go on so we can go and take a screenshot for you and produce it for you. Okay then, so moving on, I'm going to just for the purposes of this, I'm just going to put alertgadget.com into the website URL. I'm then going to locate an image from my own PC. I'm actually just going to use a standard Alert Gadget icon, which I already know is exactly the same size. Now, below this is an area where you can submit more RSS feeds. I'll show you some examples of some gadgets that we've already got that have got different RSS feeds, and I'll show you what that actually happens to the gadget and how that gives the end user more information and more services and more things to read. So I'm going to show you some examples of some gadgets already created with multiple RSS feeds there, and I'll show you that in a section in a minute. But if you do have RSS feeds that are outside of the gadget you're already submitting, by all means please put them in there, and it will just give the end user more information to read. Okay, so once that's all done, as you can see, it's very brief and easy to do. You're then going to click submit. This then takes us to the next screen, where it will then show the gadget name, and it'll have an amount to pay of $69. Now, we do have to charge an amount of $69 for each gadget that is submitted, simply because once it's submitted, that's when the real work starts. We then have to take your gadget, we then have to create a second version of it ready for submission to Google Desktop. We have to create another screenshot for you of your gadget, so that when it's actually submitted to Google Desktop, it goes along there with two screenshots, and it has what they call a GG file, which is actually your gadget file. And so our programmers actually have to spend time doing this, and then they go to a specific form at Google Desktop, submit everything to them, and then monitor the process and make sure everything is administered correctly. Okay, so once you've actually got to this screen, the last thing you need to then do is click pay and make that payment of $69, which can be made by PayPal. If you don't want to pay that money and you've got no intention, there's little point in going to submit the gadget, because we literally cannot take it further beyond that, because there is a real physical cost. And if you've had any involvement with programmers before, then you know exactly how much these cost. Okay, so I was just going to show you some gadgets that have already been submitted, and they've got additional RSS feeds. So I'm just going to go to a different screen here. Now this is quite a good example, this one here, because it's called Alternative News. There's the gadget name there. We've got the description, or two descriptions.